Good morning, all. Welcome to Rugby Chat for Tuesday, the 11th of March. I'm Kevin. I'm the host here today. Unfortunately, Mike Sheehan can't make it today. We might have someone else pop in at a later stage, but that's good. It gives me a chance to talk about what's been going on over the week and what's coming up this week and what's been going on over the time. So, because I'm all by my lonesome, it'll be great to catch up. Team picking for the week certainly is Kelvin. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, or this morning New Zealand time. But yeah, basically, as I said, I'm here all by my lonesome today, so I'd enjoy some comments and so I can interact with you all watching here on Facebook and on YouTube. So anyway, just have a quick coffee. Hope you've all got yours because it's in for a good 30, 40 minutes here. So enjoy. So what have we got? Well, we've got Super Rugby, and that all kicked off again last weekend. And we weren't too bad on our results. But one thing is, you should never change your your result or your picks, because last week's show, I know that me and Mike both were going the Brumbies. Only about 9% of all the teams, people on Super Brew tipping competition, had actually picked the Brumbies to win. And I was one of them. And I thought, oh, this is good. And for the first time in, 12 years, the Blues got humbled at Eden Park by the Brumbies. So it was a huge win. And yeah, once Bowden Barrett went off, it was like they lost their way, the Blues, a little bit. But yeah, so the Brumbies got up there winning that one on Friday night, 21-20. And both, I think Mike from memory went the Chiefs, but I definitely went the Drua last week. And so happy to see that. But then just at the last minute, never change your picks, people. On Super Brew, I thought, I don't know, maybe the Chiefs will get up. So I changed my tip about 2 minutes to kick off and went the Chiefs. I should have just stuck with the Drua, shouldn't I? Because they had a magnificent win, finally got their act together. But hey, they were at home, and they really, really needed that, because over the next couple of weeks they are away again, and I think Sydney and Sydney and in Perth. So they've got to break that away hoodoo. And then of course Moana Pacifica Hurricanes. Well, how do I talk about this one? Captain Mercurial Artie Savia went off at half time, and the rest of the Moana team totally got up and in the face of the Hurricanes. Now, call me a naysayer, call me you're just a Hurricanes fan. But what is it when we play Moana Pacifica? Do they not start our top team? The last time Moana Pacifica beat a New Zealand team was back in 2022. And that day, the Hurricanes sent in, you could call it a B squad. They didn't start their top players. They didn't start their inspirational scrum half. They didn't start their inspirational number 7, Karefi, Roigard, and all them guys. They didn't start those guys. And they've done, Roigard, I don't think was there at that time, but they didn't start their top players, and it backfired on them big time. And now, what do they do? A couple of years later, they're back there in Auckland playing Moana Pacifica, and they have Karefi on the bench. They have Roigard on the bench. Sure, Ruben Love started at fullback, but, it was like, I'd rather the Canes had been up by 20 points than chasing down 20 points. And, and it was just like, so to Moana Pacifica, well done. And good on you for beating the Hurricanes at home to pick up a real well-needed win. You've been on the cusp quite a few times, really, so far this season after 4 rounds. But, the Hurricanes really need to sit back and look at their selection. Start with your top 15 first, please. That's all I ask. And then do your changes after that once you've got a nice lead to hopefully defend. Meanwhile, over in Sydney, Saturday night there, we had the Waratahs playing the Western Force. I did go the Force, thinking, well, maybe the Force, maybe the Waratahs. I couldn't remember exactly which way we went last week, but I actually think I did go the Warra Rebels, as I like to call them. But the Force, they just didn't get started, unfortunately, after their win in Canberra a couple of weeks ago. I thought, oh, well, this could be a close game, but the Waratahs, far too strong for the Western Force. And then, of course, on Sunday, the Juggernaut Crusaders. Are they back? They completely dominated the Queensland Reds there on Sunday afternoon to pick up a bonus point win, 43-19. And not even that, they literally jumped from last place to fourth. Yeah, you heard that. That is how tight the table is at the moment. So if we have a look at the bottom teams there, you got the Hurricanes, Blues, Moana Pacifica, Fiji, Drua, and Western Force, and they are on, if I can get these graphics up a little bit better for you. So the Canes are on 5, Blues are 6, Moana Pacifica are on 6, ahead by 2 points on differential. Then you got the win by the Drua, sees them there in 8th place, 9th place, and they're on 7 points. And then the Brumbies and the Force sitting there on in 6th and 7th place. Well, if we look at the top 4, we've got the Chiefs way out in front there on 14 points. We have the undefeated Waratahs. Yeah, you heard that. After their last few seasons, it's been a bit of a worry. But they're on 13 points. Highlanders, they had the bye. They're sitting there on 9. The Crusaders, as I said, moved from last place, 11th, up to 4th, and now they're back in the hunt. The Queensland Reds just basically held on with the 9 points they picked up in the first 2 games they played, and then of course the Brumbies sitting there as well. So it's all still to play for. I mean, this week, for example, with the Hurricanes playing the Highlanders, if the Hurricanes pick up a bonus point, boom, they're on 10 points, and they can jump above the Highlanders. So still early doors, and so we'll just jump straight into it, I think. As I said, if you've got any questions, just throw them in the comments, and I'll try and answer them, because I do have a lot to get through, and so we'll just carry on. So the first game we're going to be looking at here is on Friday night at Forth Ice Bar Stadium. We've got the Highlanders playing the Hurricanes, and unfortunately my new fancy graphics don't have the fancy bloody Hulk or Captain America jerseys, which I find a bit ridiculous. Sorry, Marvel, but you missed the trick on that one. You could have gone the Wolverines for the Hurricanes. But as I said, I'm all here by my lonesome, so I'll just carry on chatting away. But the Highlanders, they'll be feeling okay. They're back home after a bye week last week. Even after the bye, as I said, they're sitting in 4th place. And the Hurricanes, well, are they going to be a wounded dog, as they say, a wounded animal? Are they going to come out firing against the Highlanders? Well, Jamie Joseph actually does have the Highlanders tickly booing along quite nicely. And the Hurricanes just, I don't know, what they're just missing that last pass, or they're just missing something at the moment. And hopefully round 5 on Friday night will be good, and they can give me a bit of a belated birthday present and get one up over the blue and golds. But hey, as I've said once, I've said a million times, Highlanders are my second team here in New Zealand, so I'm really, really looking forward to watching this matchup. But of course, there's only one way I'm going to go, and I'm going to go Hurricanes by 10. So there you go. I'm on official record now. Hurricanes by 10 points. And I know that the Highlanders are Mike Sheehan's team, so I will say that Mike will more than likely be going for the the Highlanders. So okay, Mike. So I'm Hurricanes, and I'm picking for you today. So your team is the Highlanders. So then, if we come up to game 2, straight after that, over in Sydney. over in Canberra, we've got the Brumbies taking on the Drua, and well, congratulations. Oh well, as I said, poor old Mike is not around, but he has managed to jump on, and he goes, "Morning, congratulations, 2 great games," and of course he is saying Highlanders for me. So that's all good, Mike. I knew you'd pick that. Yeah, so the Brumbies and the Drua, they kick off on 9:35 New Zealand time in Canberra there. And, of course, no fancy-dancy jerseys here for these teams. The Brumbies will be wearing a kids, because this is kids super round or something silly. So all that means is poor old parents have to fork out heaps of money on a special jersey for the round. And the Brumbies, well, they'll be cock-a-hoot, won't they? They'll be going, we just knocked over the Blues at Eden Park. When was the last time an Australian team won at Eden Park? Maybe in the cricket? I don't know. But the Drua, well, you've got to say, I mean, all money will be on the Brumbies to win this by plenty because the Drua are just pathetic away from home. But are they going to get up? Are they going to finally take a view of we beat the unbeaten Chiefs? We actually have this done. So, only because, as I said, poor old Mike can't be with us today, but he can still talk. So, because Mike is going to go to Drua, he thinks they've finally clicked. I'm going to go. I'll have to go to the Brumbies, but I think it'll be a close game. I think, depending on the weather over there in Canberra on Friday night. But I'll go the Brumbies to get up by 8 points because I think the Fijian flair they will be cock-a-hoot. Glenn Jackson would have said that is how you play on the road, boys. Let's see if we can replicate it. So I think it will be all on over there in Canberra. So, what have we got up next? We have got on Saturday afternoon. I'll be having a few drinkies on this day, definitely. And the Crusaders will be taking on the Western Force down there at down in Christchurch at Apollo Project Stadium. And well, after last Sunday, yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a lamb to the slaughter. As I said, I don't have the fancy shirt graphics for this round, but of course the Crusaders, they'll be wearing the Iron Man shirt, and I'm just going to assume that the Force will be wearing their away jersey, the gold and black. So because I'm sure blue and red clash in some weird colorblind world, but yeah. Crusaders win this, they'll have a chance to get real near the top of the table and start solidifying themselves. And that is a dangerous thing in Super Rugby. Will Jordan is on record saying, wow, the buzzer's back in Super Rugby. If the Crusaders think the buzzer's back, the rest should be wary of what the Crusaders are going. So I'm going to actually say the Crusaders will win by 30 points. And of course, if I can get my mouse working correctly here, our good friend, he hates to say it, but he's going to say the Crusaders as well. So we're both going the Crusaders to win this. Oh, it's just, yeah. I mean, when you look at the way the Crusaders played, they had a Sunday afternoon game, great crowd, awesome atmosphere. They got this game on Saturday afternoon. So if the weather's good, it's going to be another great crowd. And the Crusaders really, really feed off that. And if anything, if that's the case, I think we should be looking at more 2:30 games on a Saturday and a Sunday around the Pacific here. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And talking about that, I'll come to that one in a minute. But some news that dropped late last week. But we'll go to the big game. The game that everyone goes, oh, this is the big game. Well, we've got the Chiefs who got beaten last week. playing the Blues, who got beaten last week. They're only one bonus point ahead of the Hurricanes, who are just, I don't know what's going on. Top of the table last year, bottom of the table at round 5. But this is at FMG Stadium in Waikato, Saturday night, 7:05 New Zealand time. And, wow, they're going on that they've turned around. They're going to be doing this and they're going to be doing that. Well, remembering there were players rested for that Fiji Drua game by the Chiefs, because this is the game they're going to be, I'm going to say, bring back all their superstars. So I think the Chiefs are going to inflict misery and pain on the Blues. And if the Blues is their name, I think it's the Blues that will be a bit of a worry, actually. They'll be a bit despondent. And I already said the Chiefs. So we're going head for head at the moment. Young Mike and myself, he's gone the Chiefs as well. So, but yeah, it's sort of like, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. The Chiefs will be wearing their Natal Sharks Black Panther shirt. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this at all, these shirts. They had an opportunity to have something a bit different. As I said, the Hurricanes are going to be playing in Captain America. Since when have the Hurricanes been blue and red, you know? And then you got the Blues. Well, they're playing in Spider-Man colours, red. Red and blue. I don't know. I do think that the Chiefs is the only one that looks really sort of okay compared to their normal team colours. So, but the Chiefs will be there wearing their black, and then of course the Blues will be wearing Spider-Man. But I think the Spider might get a bit squashed. Hello, good morning, young Josh Flavel. Yes, we'll come up to it, but the Heartland draw must be close, Rabs. It is not that far away. I do know that West Coast will be playing, South Canterbury will be playing Wairarapa Bush in Masterton. But that's the only game I've heard that's been confirmed. But we'll hopefully see that by the end of this week. And as soon as I get the Heartland draw, I will be bringing that, and I'll be all over it. And Josh, I'll talk to you later. Got some gossip for you. And that's got you wondering now, hasn't it? So anyway, Saturday night after the Blues and the Reds, Blues and the Chiefs, we've got the Reds and the Waratahs at Suncorp Stadium. Now, I'm a bit unsure what's going on here because, we have got flooding in Brisbane at the moment, and I'm assuming that Suncorp, if you are in Brisbane watching this, tell us what Suncorp Stadium's looking like at the moment. But I'm going to assume that this game will be going ahead after the flooding last weekend over there in Brisbane. But if not, I'm sure we'll get a bit of a, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for here? A notification that the game's been changed. So he jumped in before me this time. So Mike Sheehan's going for the Tars. Now, I was sort of sitting here tossing this one up where we would be going. And, Waratahs or Reds, it's sort of like, ugh. Okay, so the Reds got spanked at home, away to the Crusaders. The Waratahs undefeated. Now, they will be going, they don't have a bye round until, and I've got my little piece of paper here, the Waratahs don't have a bye round until round 11. So they'll be wanting to make every post a winner as they can. And, I've gone the Waratahs, only because I think, when you get on a roll, I think that's going to be an important factor with everything, because, the Waratahs, I think, will be, I just think that the goods at the moment. It just goes to show you after merging the Waratahs and the Rebels pretty much together, they've got themselves a little bit of a super squad now, and I think they're playing really well. And it will be between them and the Brumbies. I think they'll be fighting out the top dog spot in Australia, because I think the wheels might have fallen off the force at the minute. And of course, this week's bye is Moana Pacifica. Captain Courageous there, Artie, can put his feet up and get his hamstrings all fixed as they move on. So I'll just get out of that now, because that was our Super Rugby stuff talked about. Because what else have we got? Well, at the end of the day, crowds have been good at Super Rugby. I hear the CEO who wants us podcasters, etc., to be a bit more fan-centric about everything. But the prices, I mean, hang on. You look at games at Eden Park, no one there. You look at games at Sky Stadium, no one there. There was a few people there at Christchurch, but it was still half empty. The students are back in Dunedin, so that should be a really good crowd to see there in Forsyth Bar on Saturday. But, you know, if you look at teams like the Fiji and Drua, the Moana Pacifica, okay, Moana have now made North Harbour Stadium their home ground, and they've got good crowd. They had a good crowd there in the weekend. But don't forget, we're only seeing the grandstand, right? There's three sides to a rugby field. But the thing is, it was only $10 to get into North Harbour. They had food. They had apparently South African braai working to draw in South African fans who miss their teams playing Super Rugby. They put on a bit of a, I don't know, a family atmosphere, a fun atmosphere. They had music. They weren't blaring it out all the time, which was good. I hate the blaring of the music during a game. But they made a bit of a festival for it. And with the, what do you call it? Fiji and Drua, packed out a place in even Laitoka or in Suva, and they have the you know, everyone's wearing merchandise, whether it be real or fake, but everyone's wearing Drua shirts. Everyone's having fun. You sometimes see people up trees. You know, that's a throwback to the 60s and early 70s here, or even the 50s in New Zealand, where people used to watch a game of rugby from a tree or a hilltop. But yeah, enough is enough, really, for the bigger stadiums. Drop your prices, and you'll get the crowds. Make it more entertaining. Don't have horrible food that costs you $50 for a hamburger that's 2 pieces of bread. But Mike Sheehan's just informing me that the at Crusaders, you know, tickets $20, free admission to all Heartland games too. Well, yeah, it's free to get in. Well, sometimes it's a gold coin donation to Heartland matches, but you know, if it's $20 to get in to a Crusaders game, and then it's $20 to get into a Canterbury NPC game, and that's just for one person. If you want to take the kids, sure, sometimes they take the kids free. All the kids go free this weekend because it's Super Kids round. So take all your kids, you know, for $20, that would work out a good deal. So, but yeah, if they want to sort of do that, they've just got to sort of up the ante. The stadiums, they're there to provide, sure, the service, but places like Sky Stadium here in Wellington, which I'm really bitter about, if you haven't noticed, you know, that was built back in 2000. They're celebrating 25 years of Sky Stadium this year. You know, that was built to replace the iconic Athletic Park. Now no one plays there. The soccer girls play in Porirua. The Wellington men, Lions team, play in Porirua, unless they have to play a night game, and then they're forced back to the stadium where the lighting's better. They apparently did not want to host the grand final of the NPC this year, or last year, against Bay of Plenty. Why? They lost money on hosting the final. Why? I was at that game. there was no one there. Oh, 5,000 people maybe in a 35,000 seater stadium. I mean, the only place that gives us a run for our money here in Wellington is Eden Park, our national stadium, where they would have had 4,000 people. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that's enough of my bleating. Other rugby around the world. Now, did you know that Super Rugby is not just the Pacific? Super Rugby is also Super Rugby Americas. Yeah, because it's not just Rugby Heartland New Zealand or whatever. We're also Rugby Redefined. We're also Volt Rugby. And we follow games all over the world. And now we've got the, I'll attempt the names of these teams, but they're based in Argentina, Peru, Paraguay, Brazil. And the Tarucas went down to the Pampas 15-14 last weekend. Penarol, who are quite a strong side, 22-18 over Selcom. And the Doggos, 80 points to 29 over the Cobras there. And as you can see, this is the current positions after week 3, should I say, of the of the Super Rugby Americas. And as I said, you know, that top table clash there, Penarol, Selcom, they'll be one to look out for. Poor old Cobras languishing at the bottom. The Yakari, who had the bye this week, they're from Paraguay. But it's awesome to see. And all this is doing, and the reason I'm showing you this, is that they are now have a competition that's gaining some legs. And these guys are getting big games every week, just like in Super Rugby. So keep an eye out for the teams like Chile at the next World Cup. Keep an eye out for Argentina. They'll be, you know, a lot of these guys don't have to go to Europe now and play or get the odd contract in Super Rugby. These guys can stay at home and play in Super Rugby Americas. The only problem is there is no teams from Central or North America in this. The Americans did have a team, but they pulled out, and that was the team from Glendale. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that goes. But in saying all of that, Six Nations was on last weekend, of course. And, well, I know we picked this. I know that we totally said this is what was going to happen. And, gee, I was so happy to see that the French finally ended the Irish 10-game winning streak, winning 42-27. The Scotland-Wales game, I knew it would be close. I actually said I think Scotland would win by 8, but they ended up winning by 6. And but the Welsh seem to be doing something. They've had a couple of close losses just recently, but I've lost count now of how many games they've lost. But England over Italy, 47-24. Now, I thought this would have been more of a blowout here, especially after the French defeated Italy by 70 points. But the Italians hung in there and went down basically by 47-24. So that means then the rankings, and I'll try and blow these up for Scott Hornell, who has an issue trying to read the numbers. And I do understand what he's saying, Six Nations. England on 15 points. The font makes it look like a 3. Doesn't matter how big you blow it up, it still looks like a 3. So hopefully they can change their fonts next week. But France, England, now off the top of my head, I mean, we do have the final round on this weekend. And if I just quickly get to my little bit of things here. Where are we? Here we go. So Italy will be playing Ireland. All these games are Sunday morning, New Zealand time, at 3:15. The Welsh will be hosting England at 5:45, and then we'll have France hosting Scotland. So what needs to happen for the French not to take out this championship? Well, Scotland need to beat France in Paris. Can you see that happening, people? I don't think so. And but England, they'll be all cock-a-hoot. They'll be, as I said, they're playing the Welsh, and well, Wales, it looks like they'll be heading for the wooden spoon again. And as for the Italians against Ireland, well, if France put 70 points on them earlier on in the competition, I think it could be a bit of a hiding. But to Pont, though, as Mike Sheehan has just wanted to point out to me here, poor Dupont, that tackle by the Irish, who literally folded his leg in half. You've got to wonder again. They go on about TMOs, they go on about this, and they go on about that. How could they not have seen that? I mean, I'm sure the guy got penalised and all that, but that was a complete takeout. Now, all that has done is he won't be here in New Zealand for 3 test matches later in the year, I'm going to be guessing. I think he will be gone burger for the rest of the year because they will want him to be all roaring and ready to go for the end of season test matches. But yeah, the 3 games here in New Zealand, I don't think we'll see poor old Antoine Dupont. Yeah. So anyway, how does that affect the world rankings, those results from the weekend, especially after French? Well, the French did New Zealand a favour for defeating Ireland at home. The poor old Irish have had a bit of a smackdown. And without even playing a game, New Zealand, the mighty All Blacks, are back to second in the world rankings behind South Africa. A good 2.5 points, which is a huge lead with the way the rankings are sorted and the ranking points are done. But because France were behind Ireland and France defeated Ireland by plenty, they got major points. I think they got about 3 points. And they stay there in the hunt. Argentina are going really well, sitting there currently in 5th. England, well, they're still sitting the same. Same with Scotland. Australia, well, they're languishing down there in 8th. Fiji, there in 9th. And the Italians are holding on to that 10th spot, only because of the poor performance of Wales. But knocking on the door below that, and I haven't got a graph, teams like Georgia, Germany. So World Rugby is going really well. But when you look at teams like the Italians in 10th place there, they are 20 odd points or 15, 20 points behind the top 2 of South Africa and New Zealand. So it's an interesting one to keep an eye on, especially as we head towards the test window in June, July. What else have we got? We've got Major League Rugby. I told you I'm going to go all over the place this year, today. So Major League Rugby, we've just had our round 4 or 5 games or whatever they were. And the Miami Sharks, well, they had a good win last week, but Chicago Hounds are making every post a winner at the moment, getting up over Miami by 31 points to 18. The poor old Anthem, they just can't buy a trick. They've had a couple of close defeats just recently, but they're still looking for their first Major League Rugby victory. And who is coaching the Anthem, you may ask? Well, I can tell you, one ex-All Black, Alama Eremia. It is a development side for USA Rugby, but after their 0-10 performance last year, they'll be looking at, they brought in a few ring-ins this year to try and bolster the team. It seems to be working, but they still are looking for that victory. The Houston Sabercats and the Utah Warriors, they were pretty much both unbeaten. This was going to be a big game, this one, after Houston beat Seattle last week in Houston. But the Sabercats, oh, did they roar? They got up by 37 points to 17 over the Utah team. Big win there. and Seattle bounced back after their defeat to Houston last week to get up over the New England Free Jacks by 27-24. But all that means is that one Stacey Montgomery, a good friend of ours here on the show, her mighty Legion got up over LA in a bit of a Californian derby, the Cali Cup they call it, and they got up 36-28 to leave the San Diego Legion, the only team left in Super Rugby, Major League Rugby, undefeated. So they're sitting there currently on the 4 games, 20 points, 5 bonus points each game. Houston just sitting behind them in the Western Conference with 15. Utah now dropped down to third on 10. Seattle there on 7, and LA are languishing at the bottom. And then over in the Eastern Conference, God, you got to love the Americans and their conferences. But Chicago there with 15 points. Now they've 3-1. Miami Sharks, as I said, this is the team I do follow over there, and they're having a lot better season. They've got 2 from 4 there. They're on 11 points ahead of Old Glory DC, and New Orleans there 6 points. New England on 6, and the 3 bonus points for Anthem Rugby Club. So as I said, all over the place. Now I don't have any graphics for other stuff I'm going to say, but congratulations to Kenya women who took out both legs of the South African Challenger Series over the weekend. They've won 2 weeks in a row now, and after last week, the Chileans who won there, they couldn't make the final, and the final ended up being between, and now it's literally just left my brain, Portugal got up over Germany in the other final. Now that Challenger Series now moves to Poland in a few weeks' time for the continuation of the Challenger Series, where the winner of this goes on and takes on the teams at the bottom of the World Series, which will carry on in a couple of weeks at the brand new Hong Kong Stadium in Hong Kong at Kowloon, I think it's called. But that's going to be an interesting one to see, a bit of a different atmosphere for the Hong Kong Sevens. Always open for invitations to that. And of course, what else have we got happening around the place? We've got a bit of Heartland news, as Mike Sheehan is saying. Huge congrats out there to Nigel Walsh and his new coaching team at South Canterbury. Yes, I do follow them. Had the pleasure of sponsoring their Ranfurly Shield Challenge. Nigel Walsh back again. It'll be interesting to see how they go. The Taranaki team have come out and have confirmed the 2 pre-season Ranfurly Shield games. One's going to be at Manaia, having their first Ranfurly Shield match, the home of Yarrow's Bread, and they'll be taking on Thames Valley Swamp Foxes, and I think it was June the 27th or something like that. Follow our socials for the dates. And then on top of that, we've got the King Country Rams will also be taking on a bit of a shield challenge there as well. So we hit 40 minutes. As I said, I could talk rugby all day. I do thank everyone for comments and questions. As I said, young Josh, I'll be in touch. But I think that could be the end of the show. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. You're going to have a few drinks this weekend. Be sensible. Enjoy. I'll be having a few. But otherwise, that's about us for another week. We may be back later in the week with team lineups. If not, follow the old socials and we'll have all the team lineups on there. So I'm Rabs, and we'll catch up with you all on the next go around. Thank you for watching, everyone. And remember, Rugby Chat Rugby is the winner on the day. Catch you later.